Thank you, as always. I want to ask about...
Might regret it.
Oh, she'll regret it, all right. A little background here. This is a Newsmax reporter that she has had a lot of clashes with over the last couple years that she's been doing this. And she was reluctant to call on him, but she called on him, and she's going to pay for it.
I might regret it, but go ahead.
I assure you, you will not. I want to ask about polling. In February, the president conducted an interview with, I believe it was Telemundo, and he was asked about the dismal state of his job approval ratings. And he answered in words to this effect, do you know anyone that believes the polling these days?
And by the way, don't you love the liberal media reporters around him rolling their eyes and not liking this question? It's a great question.
Talked in some detail about the difficulty of getting people on the phone and compiling accurate polling. Whenever you're asked about the president's dismal job approval ratings, you say we're not going to look at polls. We look at his accomplishments. And yet when you are asked about various domestic policy initiatives, you will say these poll very well. People support what the president wants to do. If you look at the individual subjects on the polling, they support what the president's agenda is. So once and for all, are only certain polls valid in your eyes, the ones that support your agenda? Or is the polling data that shows that President Biden has been stuck for 2 years at the low 40s in his approval ratings, are those valid?
So here's the thing. I think it's important to share that American people do approve of some of the president's initiative. I think it is important. I think it's important for the American people to hear that when it comes to Medicare and fighting and being able to Medicare to be able to lower costs for the American people.
And as usual, here goes Karine not answering the question, but instead going through her talking points that she has memorized, going with the narrative.
Which is what the president...
Are valid.
No, it's not that. It's not that. We are given, anytime I'm asked this question, given an opportunity to speak on what the American people want to hear and what we are doing, right? And so there are moments, just like when you ask me about certain polls, that I can say, hey, you know what? That is something that the American people support. But in more broad terms, in general, we're not focused on every poll.
And that's his point. You don't focus on every poll, just the ones that you find convenient to your purposes, the polls that you like.
And making sure that Americans have their Social Security. And I think by saying that Americans support that is important for us to say that from here too, because we are actually delivering for the American people. We're actually doing what the American people want us to do. So when I say that, that's what I'm referring to. The work that we're doing, what we want to deliver on, what the American people care about. And it is the economy. It is lowering costs, right? I always talk about that. The president's number one priority is to continue to lower costs.
The other Thanksgiving staples are more expensive again this year. Canned cranberries will cost 60% more. Canned pumpkin prices have spiked 30%. And russet potatoes are up 14%.
It's super expensive, and I'm sharing the cost with some of my siblings.
Definitely more conscious about what we purchase.
Is to continue to lower costs. And I talk about what he has done, whether it's junk fees, whether it's making sure that people have good paying jobs by making sure that we've passed these historic legislation that's going to create good union paying jobs. All of those things are connected.
So the polls that show that the electorate at large and also significant majorities within the Democratic Party believe that the president is too old. The polls that show the American people and also significant majorities within the Democratic Party don't want him to run again. And the polls that show his handling of the economy, foreign policy, all of these dismal polls, his job approval ratings, does the White House have any basis to challenge the accuracy of that polling?
All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Whenever you're asked about the president's dismal job approval ratings, you say we're not going to look at polls. We look at his accomplishments.